Apostrophes. Apostrophes misused has to be the number one thing that drives me insane. People that use apostrophes for a plural S. My guns, G-U-N apostrophe S. I got 10,000 views on a video. Views, V-I-E-W apostrophe S. I swear to God, I don't know where it's coming from, but we have gotten to where we misuse the old humble apostrophe, and it's driving me insane. There's a town I was patrolling in this morning, and they've got a sign out there. It's the name of the town, and Donuts. D-O-N-U-T apostrophe S. Donuts does not need an S, folks. You see it all the time with RV apostrophe S, AR apostrophe S, CD apostrophe S. No, it's just ARs, ARS. It drives me insane, the people that misuse apostrophes. Used to be you only saw it on like hand-painted signs, and you know, hillbillies out in the countryside that were selling oranges or something would say oranges for sale with an apostrophe S. Now it's goddamn professional signs made at a factory, printed by professional sign makers. They're coming up with apostrophe S on every goddamn thing. It is maddening. Stop using apostrophes. Stop misusing apostrophes. Everywhere that's a plural does not get an apostrophe. Just because I have 4 cats, it's not C-A-T apostrophe S. I don't have 4 cats, by the way. That would be stupid. I hate cats. But you see what I'm getting at? Stop using the apostrophe. You might have noticed OG's Danger Show. OG apostrophe S. It's my Danger Show. OG's Elephant apostrophe S. It's maddening. The misuse of the apostrophe, driving me insane. Has to be the number one thing. It's going to be the downfall of our society, pretty sure. I don't deal with internet trolls a whole lot, but I've got some recent experience with YouTube trolls. I guess those would be internet trolls. I'm not really on the internet so much. I don't do a lot of, in fact, I don't do any social media other than YouTube. I don't even have a Facebook page. But trolls, boy, they're hilarious. They're sad all at the same time. They come out of the woodwork. You know, they attack people who are just making free content for them. You know, I make a video. Jeff over at Talflater Mouse makes a video to entertain you for 15 minutes, and you come out of the woodwork flaming mad, your hair on fire, all pissed off about something. You know, whatever pisses you off, how wrong you are in whatever you said in your video. It's hilarious. These are clearly the people who are living in their mom's basements. They climb the stairs and grab a Capri Sun and hit the keyboard, and man, they are just mad and fired up.
What do you mean you don't agree with me? Do you know who you're dealing with?
They will do anything they can to let you know how wrong you are and how right they are. So, internet trolls, they're kind of funny. Got no time for them. I really don't pay a lot of attention to them. I made a couple of videos recently that kind of had to do with police a little bit, like the getting stuck in a riot and the getting stopped by a police officer. Those videos, especially the police officer one, oh my God, people came out of the woodwork pissed off about my opinions and my agency's policy and the laws in California and all this stuff. They just came out of the woodwork, and you know, they wanted to flame me about everything. Hey, whatever, I don't care. The funny thing about trolls is they'll write a 12-inch long in YouTube font, about 4-point font, a YouTube response, and it'll be just on fire. They are so friggin' mad. It's worked up their heart rate and got them all fired up. As soon as I start reading that thing and realize that they're just out to clown on me or tell me how wrong I am, or F you, pig, or whatever like that, delete. I've done kind of a fun thing that I call pinning the hate, and I like to take a couple of little trolls that are just so friggin' out of their minds with anger. They're so outraged. They woke up this morning outraged, and they want to find something to be outraged about. So my YouTube video happened to be it. I like to pin them at the top of the comment section, and it's hilarious watching all of the viewers just tear them apart, especially when they're completely off base. The woke crowd, oh my God. Don't get me started on the woke. If I got a choice of being woke or asleep, boy, wake me up after my nap. The woke crowd tends to be these young, educated, tends to be females most of the time, who are so self-righteous. They know they've got the whole world figured out, and boy, they know they're social justice warriors who want to make sure that you also conform to their beliefs. it's not an open dialogue with them. You're either woke or you're some kind of caveman who believes in racism, sexism, homophobia. So I choose not to be woke. I know some people who are woke, and they're constantly, they're kind of like the troll, but in real life, where they want to spend their entire day telling you how wrong you are and how enlightened they are. And the only reason they wake up in the morning is to tell you how enlightened they are. They kind of outwoke each other, really. I just heard the other day that people now on dating sites are trying to outwoke each other. They're trying to be so enlightened that the opposite sex will be attracted to them for how woke they are. So they're trying to outdo each other with enlightenment and this virtue signaling stuff. So it's absolutely crazy. They think they got it all figured out. They tend to be, well, they're very outraged. They're very, very earnest in their beliefs, which is good, I guess, but they tend to have not a lot of life experience.
Oh my God.
Most of them have never held a full-time job. I tend to find that a lot of them are in our college age. So that's, of course, the age where we all had it figured out in life. But, you know, you grow up. I don't hate on them or anything, but I shake my head. I just think those people they've got a big surprise coming in life. Woke. No, thank you. Oh, these guys. Good Lord. The other day I'm driving up and down the road and a guy swerves in front of me and cuts me off. This is in my own personal vehicle. And then he swerves in front of another car and cuts it off just inches away from hitting both of us. And as he's jamming past me 115 miles an hour, I look down and I realize he's sitting there looking at his phone this whole time. The dude nearly wiped two of us off the road, and then he shoots up, 150 miles an hour down up to the intersection, and lo and behold, down at the intersection, we're all stuck at the exact same red light. He's 2 cars ahead of me. Good move, dude. You burned up a half a tank of gas and nearly killed some people because you needed to get to that red light about 5 whole seconds before I got to that red light, and now we're both stuck there. That was a good move. Yeah, aggressive drivers. Next to the guy who misuses the apostrophe, aggressive drivers are bane in my existence. I don't get what people are in a big hurry about these days. It blows my mind. Maybe I'm just getting old. Maybe I'm on my way to being that old dude who puts around at 25 miles an hour around town. But I don't get the aggressive driver. I don't get why you need to blast through a red light after it changes red. You can't sit there for all of 20 seconds while that light cycles and maybe even just look at your phone for a minute. Do something, dude. But these people that are just blasting through red lights nowadays, if the other day a guy ripped through a red light, nearly took off the front of my truck had I not been watching. I threw up my arms like this. Well, because I threw up my arms, I got the double bird. I got flipped off for questioning his driving. It was pretty entertaining. So yeah, boy, aggressive drivers. I just don't get it. I don't get why you need to be an asshole in your car. Not since she left me and the kids. We don't speak a whole lot, she and I. I don't follow her career a whole lot. She left us kind of at a bad time, and I kind of have a non-disclosure agreement with her, so I can't really speak on the topic, but still a lot of hard feelings. Yeah, these guys, I don't understand this concept. I guess it's people who feel uncomfortable with carrying their pistol. Maybe it's just a new CCW carrier. They decide that to be safe, in case their pistol's ever snatched away from them and used on them by a bad guy, that they want to carry with an empty chamber. So they've got essentially an unloaded pistol tucked in their waistband or in a holster in case a bad guy grabs it away from them. Well, I guess my first question is, why did a bad guy have access to your concealed carry pistol? Why did he even know it was there? And second of all, do you really think that there's a lot of cases out there where somebody has their gun snatched away from them and the first click gives you a chance to turn around and run? No, this doesn't happen that way.
Stop acting so stupid!
Here's the bigger concern with this. I teach CCW classes here in Calunicornia, and I actually discuss this quite a bit with my students. I have a couple of them that'll come to class and they'll talk about how they want to, they don't feel comfortable carrying a loaded firearm. I don't understand why you would even then want to carry a firearm. Leave it at home in the sock drawer and let the men take care of your safety. I discuss this with them, and the scenario I give them, let's say it's 2 in the morning, you're at the ATM at your local bank, somebody's got you pinned up against the ATM, they're punching you in the face, getting ready to take your card or your life. You've got one hand free and you're able to reach down and draw your concealed carry pistol. How do you get that thing in operation? unless you've trained on a one-handed racking of the slide, which most people don't do, you've got a useless piece of steel and plastic in your hands. So I don't get the empty chamber carry people. I think they're just uncomfortable with having a firearm. They like the concept of having a firearm, but they're uncomfortable with them. They don't trust their own skills. So I just say, hey, we'll leave it at home. You're not going to be able to get that thing into operation if you're carrying a baby or carrying a bag of groceries or fighting somebody off with one hand. You're not going to be able to draw that thing out and use it. So absolutely worthless. I think most military and law enforcement professionals will tell you the same thing. It's not just my opinion.
Yeah, well, you know, that's just like your opinion, man.
What's a stupid animal? Cats. I've got one that lives around this house. We used to have a couple of them. One finally expired. Cats, they just lay around all day long, eating your food. They do nothing. They don't have jobs. They pee on everything. They're kind of like hobos. Hobos also just lay around and do nothing all day long. They are the hobos of the animal world. I got no use for them. No, they need to be trained to sniff out drugs or bombs or, you know, help blind people wander around town. But cats, that's a worthless animal. Well, this state, what I like to call Calunicornia, it's a beautiful state geographically. It's got everything. You got mountains, you got desert, you got beaches, open farmland. I live out here in the middle of the flat, hot farmland. You've got everything. You've got beautiful cities. Well, they're beautiful as you're flying over them. Los Angeles and San Francisco. They used to be beautiful on the ground, but you know, politics and stuff have gotten in the way, and they've kind of turned into crap, the cities and most of the state politically. I don't want to get into a whole lot of politics because it tires me out, especially on my channel. I kind of like it to be open for everybody of all political backgrounds, kind of a big tent danger show. But I will say that politicians and a certain viewpoint has taken this state and kind of turned it into a kind of a crap hole. Legally, you know, with our laws, with our rules or regulations, taxes, everything's overtaxed here. It's overcrowded in this state because we have nice weather, big deal. It used to be, well, it's still a beautiful state in most of the places. You know, you could fill a calendar with pictures from California, but boy, I don't know. It's dangerous to go into the big cities now unless you're armed. It's dangerous to go anywhere anymore. And we have some of the craziest laws in the country. We have some of the craziest laws in the world. We got goofy politicians. We got, I don't know. We got all kinds of stuff. You almost got me talking about politics again, didn't you? Calunicornia. I'm almost done with it. I've got about, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 more years employment here. I'm gainfully employed here, so I'm not going to bail anytime soon. Mrs. OG and I have bought some property in Idaho, and we're currently building a house. We bought some plans recently. We're building a house up there, and we're going to retire to the free state of Idaho, where I can own all my firearms, live in a beautiful piece of forest and meadow, and, you know, do what we want. Just retire in peace up there, and then just come back to California when we need a little sun or some aggravation, get the blood pressure up a little bit. Calunicornia, man, it's you know, it's a utopia in the making. Oh, these little assholes! I'll tell you what, Antifa. I don't get. So they claim to be anti-fascist, right? That's where Antifa comes from. They are the most fascist of any group out there. You take a look back at World War II, at Mussolini's fascists, or Hitler's goons, and the brown shirts, you know, from Nazi Germany. They ran around hunting down people who didn't agree with them, injuring them, shutting them up, shutting them down, boycotting them, closing businesses, and just hurting these people until they either shut up or agreed with them. Does that sound familiar? So Antifa, these little mama's boys are out there. They get to dress up in black and run around with each other with their brave little bandanas over their face, hiding their identity. They're just out to break stuff. They're just idiots who want to break stuff because they're mad. My theory is they're mad because, you know, Trump got elected.
Donald J. Trump is now President of the United States.
Still, so they're just trying to take it out on the window at Starbucks. They just want to break something. Antifa, oh boy. I kind of wish the news media wouldn't also call them an anti-fascist group. It's aggravating beyond belief when you watch the news and an anchor will say, the anti-fascist group Antifa tonight, quit giving them that credit. Just because they call themselves an anti-fascist group doesn't mean they're an anti-fascist group. I can call myself a ballerina. Guess what? I'm not doing no damn ballet. So just because they say they're anti-fascist doesn't mean that they are. In fact, they are quite the definition of fascist. So it's kind of funny. I kind of equate them to, if you look around, you remember a year or two ago when ISIS was real big. They wandered around the Middle East, and anybody who disagreed with their philosophy was either killed or tortured or beaten until they agreed with their philosophy. It's awfully similar, wouldn't you say? So yeah, these brave little social justice warriors are just angry about something else. It's not BLM, it's not George Floyd. They're just angry little bastards who want to get out there in the street and, you know, injure people and break stuff, and they find a little power when they're in a big group together. If they were by themselves, boy, they'd run with a wet spot between their legs. But it's easy for them to tip over a 70-year-old man in a wheelchair, or, you know, punch a soccer mom because she's carrying an American flag, or some old man in a coffee shop because he's wearing a Trump hat. So yeah, lovely little jewels, aren't they? I think they're turning independence our direction, and I think that they're pissing off some of their own super woke liberals. So, oh, you're trying to get me to talk politics again. The homeless people, hobos, well, they're kind of like cats. They're the cats of the human world. They lay around all day, wake up late, eat food that we provided them, and then pee on everything. And they're just, I don't know. I don't have a lot of sympathy for most of them. Most of them are down on their luck because of their own choices. That may be politically incorrect to say, but oh well, it's my danger show. No, these clowns that sit out there with a cardboard sign. It's funny to see a 35-year-old man sitting in front of Walmart with a Vietnam veteran sign. Something's wrong there, the math doesn't add up. We find out. I'm in a business where I deal with them from time to time. You come to find out they don't actually want help, most of them. They don't want help out of the gutter or where they live in. They want to wake up late every day. They want to sleep in a tent. They want to do drugs and fornicate on the side of the road and, you know, live like animals, really. They don't want to go to a job. They don't want to live in a place where they have to keep everything clean and stay sober and, you know, treat everybody nice. They want to just live like, you know, it's kind of like if 4-year-olds were able to just live however they wanted to. These are adult 4-year-olds, so you can try and help them. These are not people who necessarily want to be helped. Part of the problem is we've enabled them by giving them everything. In my county, there are 80 programs out there to feed these people. 80 programs, and of course we all know they get a free phone. There's 80 programs out there to give them food and clothing, and yet soft heads in front of Walmart still give them $1. So if you're one of those people who's handing money to homeless people on the side of the road, stop doing it. You're not helping. They're running out and buying a cheap plastic bottle of Kessler whiskey with that stuff and drugs. They are not going down and buying a lean steak and some asparagus to make a nice little dinner for the night. Stop giving money to hobos. They just want a free handout, so they'll make up anything on that little sign, whether it's a Vietnam veteran or down on their luck. I saw a funny sign the other day that says, "Can a bum get a crumb?" I thought that was actually kind of humorous, but I wasn't tempted into giving him any money. There's a guy that stands out in front of our Costco around here with a shopping cart, and he's a tall old sunburned dude who's always got it. He's old enough to be a Vietnam vet, and he says that he was a Marine in Vietnam. That's what his sign always says. So if that's true, that's admirable. The dude is filthy dirty all the time. Sweaty, filthy dirty. He's got this horribly dirty t-shirt on. So a couple months ago, I took him a stack of almost brand new t-shirts that I had sitting around that I wasn't using anymore and wasn't going to use. They're almost brand new. A stack of nice, heavy duty Dickies t-shirts of all different colors. Took him down there. I handed them out the window to him. He was, "Oh man, brother, that's great. Thank you very much. Boy, I can use these. Boy, you just saved me. Thank you, brother. That is so cool." And I rolled up the window and left. Came back the next day. He's wearing the same old, dirty, filthy t-shirt from the day before. Came back the next day, same old, dirty, filthy t-shirt. And to this day, 2 months later, still wearing the same old, filthy, dirty t-shirt. So is it a costume that he's putting on to get money? Because if he looked really nice and had a nice, clean Dickies t-shirt on, maybe he doesn't look quite as pitiful and get your money. But
I get it.
boy, if you're one of the soft heads that's giving money to hobos out your car window, stop doing that. Even the liberal city mayors are saying, don't give money to these guys. They are not using it to better themselves. Stop. No, if I was a homeless guy, think about it. I can't camp on the beach in beautiful California, right? But these guys can live in a tent on the beach. They can wake up in the middle of the morning. They can shoot up with drugs, throw the football around with their buddies, do whatever they want to, wander into town and get free food from any number of sources, and then come back out to their tent, lay around all afternoon and sleep and feed their dog and have sex with whatever goes by, and get to live in some of the most beautiful real estate in California, $1 million real estate, and they get to live right there in the middle of it. But because they're down and out, they're allowed to do so. They're allowed to break all the laws. They can wander on the freeway. They can throw trash on the ground. We can't stop them and write them a ticket. All we can do is yell at them if they're wandering out on the freeway and tell them to get off. They get to sit in the streets in San Francisco and shoot up with heroin right there in front of all the public and police officers too. If I tried to do that, sitting on the street in San Francisco and shooting up with heroin, we'd probably have a problem. Yeah, so I don't feel too bad for the old hobo. I think they are the cats of the human world. Is this the stupidest looking car that was ever made on Earth? You can have an electric car, that's fine. Have an electric car. But the Toyota Prius has got to be one of the ugliest cars out there. This is my opinion. I think they're virtue signaling. I think most Prius owners are just virtue signaling. They want to say, hey everyone, look how environmentally responsible I am. So I'm driving this little Toyota Prius, and most of them come with a burning sticker already attached to the back of them. One of the little towns I patrol in has an inordinate amount of Toyota Priuses, and they all tend to be that kind of a granola eating, no shoe wearing hippies. The funny thing about these people who are environmentally conscious and so therefore they drive a Prius, they think that electricity is just handed down from the heavens by Jesus himself. They don't realize that electricity comes from coal, right? We're burning up coal, so if you're going to have an electric car, why don't you call it your coal-powered car? It's just a coal-powered car. It's not clean fuel. It's a coal-powered car. So anyway, Toyota Prius, I don't have much use for. I think they're ugly cars, and I think the people inside of them are trying a little bit too hard. Oh, my favorite quote has to be probably, just because you're offended doesn't mean you're right. I love that quote. I wish I could have it tattooed across my forehead. Just because you're offended does not mean you're right. We see nowadays, actually it's been kind of a trend for the last couple of years, we see all these people who, they wake up perpetually offended. I actually call them recreationally offended. They wake up in the morning looking for something to be outraged about. They go to the store, they go to school, they go to work, and they're already offended at something. Of course they're not really offended, but that's how they tell you that they're better than you. So just because they're offended does not mean they're right. And I wish businesses and organizations would quit bowing down to this tiny little majority of people who are offended. All these department stores that no longer would say Merry Christmas because it might offend someone. Funny thing is, you've offended about 98% of your customer base by not saying Merry Christmas anymore and hanging these big giant signs in your window that say, you know, Happy Holidays or whatever. Oddly enough, holidays, holy days, right? So that's offensive. We can't say that anymore either. We can't show a Christmas tree because, you know, maybe Jesus popped out of a Christmas tree. It's stupid. Those people that are perpetually offended really need to get a life. They need to, I don't know, we need to do something to them that's actually going to offend them so they know what real offense is like. But I don't get it. Just because you're offended doesn't mean you're right. This is probably one of the most stupid things I've ever seen. Lyrical dance, right? You're dancing all over. Oh, look at me. I'm flopping all over the stage and I'm waving my arms in the air, and then I bend over and I fall on the floor, and then I get back up and then I wave my arms in the air, and then I bend over and I fall on the floor. Then I stand up and I kick one leg in the air, and then I fall on the floor, and I don't get it. To me, you look like those little wiggly arm dudes, those inflatable dudes down at the car lot they pump air into to try and get you to come buy a Prius. Lyrical dance, that's stupid.